exactly the same way, right up to 92nd, 93rd, wherever it needs to be.
McGlinchey forced wide. Krishna had started to make an infield run. Taking an eternity to find a teammate. And in the end, really just delivered a 50-50 ball. It's the substitute, Hamill. Measured pass, Castellan, Nichols. The option was there to switch down that left wing side, but couldn't make the turn, Nichols. Krishna, nice feet, Rodriguez. Phoenix turn to switch play. Manny Muscat down the right wing side. Wanderers are well organised, perhaps better organised than through the first 45 minutes. Bonavacia back to goal. They'll try again down this left wing side. Patience a virtue, but at 2-0 down, it's not something you can bring into play too often. There has to be some urgency, Harry.
I'm saying with the shuffling across midfield really well, Sydney side.
Krishna now getting around the back of them. Powell at the far post. Krishna stops, resets. Rodriguez, McGlinchey. Leah for Manny Muscat. Just a little bobble. Gets it to Bonavacia, but then the heavy touch, and it comes to nothing.
Yeah, they're just filling those channels, those pockets of the Phoenix. We found a lot of space in the first half. The Wanderers be quite content to have the ball in front of them, particularly from a defensive midfield perspective. It's in behind. We saw in the first half that the Phoenix really did cause the Wanderers, the defensive line, some problems.
Phoenix with an advantage, but not for long. Castellan again, he's just so quick. And then electric to turn away. Cleared off from Doyle. Invites Nichols into the play. Lovely play. Well, that would have been one of the prettier goals you'd see. Eventually the Phoenix able to clear up, but the pace and the guile of Romeo Castellan causing the Phoenix all sorts of issues.
It's that dynamic duo again, isn't it? Nichols and Castellan combining well again. Castellan just, again, with the first stuff, just too much pace. Great little first touch around Alex Rodriguez.
Krishna, it's been the story of the Phoenix a little so far in this second half, being forced square. And off the ball, Dimas has been clipped. Rodriguez was the closest Phoenix player. I'm never quite sure when a player does a double twist and 3 rolls as to quite where the injury might be. Dimas was certainly very animated, Harry.
Ball back from Castellan. Rodriguez just in late, wasn't he? Spanish counterpart. Dimas goes down again. No free kick this time, though. Bonavacia has been so well corralled, hasn't he? The Phoenix, so many of their attacking moments have come via McGlinchey, almost having to step up given the coverage that Bonavacia continues to get.
think if there's, you know, two, three, even three players at time around Bonavacia, that there's maybe a spare yellow shirt somewhere on around the park.
It's uncharacteristic that time from McGlinchey. Andreu actually had 3 games with Auckland City called into their FIFA Club World Cup campaign back in, I think, 2011. So here he is on the ball, the Spaniard. Not completely foreign to this part of the world. Hamill getting there first ahead of McGlinchey. On Nichols, and the referee's had enough here. Just wants to calm proceedings down. Nichols already had a yellow card himself in the first half. There's one for Leah.
Vinny Leah just clipping the Mitch Nichols there, just too quick. Looking composed under pressure at times too. Nichols, Castellan.
It's clumsy from Doyle, saying I won the ball, but was at the expense of an appointment to the chiropractor for the Dutchman. Not too much happening here, Harry, for the Phoenix in the opening 10-12 minutes of the second half. Certainly not the same momentum going forward as we saw in the first. What does Ernie Merrick do? Does he turn to the bench? Think Hamish Watson perhaps an option?
Well, certainly to change things up in the middle of the park, particularly up top. In central striker position, very physical. Puts himself about. Hamish Watson scored 3 goals in a short spell with the Phoenix so far. And Blake Powell just using his body well.
Yeah, Watson was one player that certainly was highlighted by Ernie Merrick in the post-match last week as having made a difference in a losing performance. Brought some real energy. And the offside flag. The options there, Fenton, Redenton, Watson. I would think Dylan Fox less likely unless there is a ceremonial change for Ben Sigmund towards the end of the match. I'm not sure, Harry, that Ben Sigmund would be up for that. I think he'd rather stay there for the 90, wouldn't he? You know him pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. He wouldn't want to come off, and I'm sure Ernie Merrick, barring any sort of injury, or going to play as long as he can.
Here's Castellan again. Nichols was the provider this time. May well have been guilty of overplaying it, but gee, they work well together as a combination, and so much of it down this right wing side.
Yeah, they're coming into form at the right time of the year as well, aren't they? Just about to start that finals campaign. You've got your strikers scoring goals, you've got your marquee men, Nichols and Castellan, sort of pulling the strings from a attacking midfield perspective.
It's a good corner, the space at the far post. Top ball, Stanley was lurking. Doyle with the last ditch clearance. Phoenix were 3-0 down last week against Victory before they really sparked into action. We got that goal to Bonavacia, the penalty that McGlinchey missed. What might have been, of course, had that penalty been scored, take the game to 3-2, but they do not want to go 3-0 down here. Topo Stanley, free header but no power, no direction, no angle. Over the top, onside. Oh, Castellan. Well, he's got the skills in the kit bag and the confidence to try it, but he couldn't execute. That's a real chance.
I just surprised himself as well, the amount of time he had. Clearly offside. Castellan. And I think that that effort, I think he actually knew. He actually felt he was offside himself, potentially. Just casually swatted that one away, perhaps, but clearly a yard or two offside.
I have a feeling, though, Harry, that would have counted. I'm not sure the flag was going to go up. It didn't go up at any stage. You're right. There's a good metre offside. The officials excused a blush or two with the miscue. What have the Phoenix got? They need to fire up. They need to threaten in the next 5 minutes or so. Bonavacia. Oh, off the post again. Oh, nothing is going the way of the Phoenix. Picked his spot, and it was just an inch or two too wide. Can you believe it?
Well, the second time this evening the Phoenix have hit the woodwork. Just trickled on the other side of the line, didn't it? The Redmayne.
McGlinchey. They press again. Early ball for Krishna. Krishna just stepping over it. Suggestion from the Fijian. He felt there was some contact, but that looked to be a really gilt-edged opportunity.
That was another good chance for the Phoenix. Again, good early ball from Thomas Doyle. Bonavacia just Redmayne beaten, all hands down. Look at him rattling the woodwork. Bonavacia. Can't believe how that one didn't roll in.
Well, the keeper Redmayne was beaten all ends up. I'm sure he felt that he was about to turn and just pick it out of the back of the net. This will concern Popovic. An ankle problem for Jamison. And then in the blink of an eye, Krishna with an opportunity as well off the early ball from McGlinchey. But these are critical moments in this match, and still the Phoenix cannot get on the scoreboard. Manny Muscat beats one, rolls the ball square. Momentum just slowed. Bonavacia. I think just moments ago, hit the post. Bridgeback defending, the Phoenix press. You do feel, Harry, if they score, if they do get that goal, that it really could be a game changer. They really might finish with their tails up.
You get a sense they just need that one, don't they? They're eager. Quite often enthusiasm boils over, and it's frustrating when things don't seem to go your way. When you're hitting the post, not getting the rub of the green, no matter how hard you try, it's tend to go the other way.
Topple Stanley. Castellan. Of course, whilst they're missing chances at the other end, they've got to stay watertight at the back. Here's Castellan again. Somehow wriggled through. Durante did enough, though. Happy to just take the pace out of the game at every opportunity now, the Wanderers. Here's Hamill.
They'd be quite happy just to keep possession, just entice, try and draw the Phoenix players in. The Phoenix want to be pushing. There they are. They're going to start stepping up quite high now, trying to get some pressure on that back four, try and turn the ball over high up the park.
read by Rodriguez. Bonavarcia clipped. Eventually, the foul is given, taken quickly. McGlinchey. Both Phoenix fullbacks very high up the park at the moment. Here's one of them, Manny Muscat. Last game for the black and yellow. Cuts in Fields. Initially made space, but then was well covered. They are just probing left, right, down the middle, looking for an opening. So far, the Wanderers standing strong, if not a little lucky at times. Coming through is Leah. Bit of pace in the attack now. McGlinchey. Oh, he went to pull the trigger. Nichols got there, and McGlinchey's hurt himself. Whether he's hit Nichols or hit the ground, Michael McGlinchey, he thought he was about to strike the ball, Harry, and suddenly the ball was gone, and these can be awkward.
I think he's just clipped the back of Mitch Nichols, I think, as he's gone to... He's actually hit the... He's gone to strike. He's hit the foot of Mitch Nichols.
He's had an impressive match tonight. One of the most impressive moments was hitting the post in the first half, and they've done it again through Bonavarcia. So these travelling fans have more reason to applaud than these home fans. Andy Merrick looking on with real concern. Chance just to reflect, we're less than half an hour to play now in the respective careers for the Phoenix of Manny Muscat and Ben Sigmund. And there is Sigmund, Harry and Manny Muscat. In many ways, their careers have followed similar paths here. Manny Muscat first signed a short-term injury cover when Vince Leah was injured, and yet he was good enough. He said, I'm good enough to play at the Hyundai A-League level, and he's just been so consistent ever since, Manny Muscat, being such a great servant of the club. He, of course, off to Melbourne City. Ben Sigmund saying goodbye to football at the top level. Your thoughts on both players?
Oh, look, I think when Manny Muscat came to the club, he filled that right back position, didn't he? Came on, I think it was on trial. Absolutely just turned that right back position into his own in his first season. And then it was obviously such an instrumental, such a key player in that defensive midfield role for at least 3 or 4 seasons for the Phoenix. Outstanding player. And I think you look at Sigmund, you look at the attributes, you not only look at their never die attitude, but also what they bring to the club in terms of, just their aggression. I think both of them, you lose those sort of personalities out of the particularly the defensive line. They're going to be very, very hard to replace. I think they're just plain winners. They don't like losing. You've seen Sigmund tonight, 2 or 3 occasions with Brendan Santalab. Just hate losing.
Yeah, and both as a result of the qualities you've just described, and amongst their qualities, not the least of which both very good footballers and have shown an ability to adapt and react to change, and in particular with the arrival of Ernie Merrick, Ben Sigmund spoke about that and the change that it brought to his game. But they've just been such favourites of the fans and the community.
I think you talk about community, and you look at some of the work that Ben Sigmund's going to start doing off the park, as well as looking at sort of life after football programs for not only our footballers but other New Zealand athletes as well. So he's looking to pass on what he's learnt into a mentoring role with Ben Sigmund in the years to come.
Bonavarcia clipped, so the Phoenix just riding a Wanderers attack coming from the left fullback Scott Jamieson. As changes made, so Michael McGlinchey will take no further part. So midfielder, well, attacking midfielder makes way for an out-and-out striker. He will play right at the tip of that arrowhead, will Hamish Watson.
certainly adds a point of difference in the attack for the Phoenix.
Scrambling work there by Andreu. This time Manny Muscat back in cover.
Talking to Siggy Coyley on today, and he couldn't, you know, sorry, it was Manny Muscat. He couldn't believe it. Things just haven't sunk in that today was his last game. He woke up this morning, went through his normal routine, and hasn't really hit him. But I'm sure, you know, likewise with Ben Sigmund, looking at what was he, 35? You start looking at, you're relatively young, aren't you? 35. What am I going to do after football? It's been my life for so many years. Young family as well to support, so life of a professional athlete's got to come to an end sooner or later. But I suppose it's those last few years, how do you prepare yourself for life after football? And I think that's one of the projects that Ben's going to have so much influence on with the Phoenix community, with the young players coming through, and also, you know, other aspiring athletes in New Zealand that are looking at getting into, you know, some elite sport, some elite academies, dealing with life pressures on and off the park.
Yeah, and of course a chance to spend more time with the family. He dotes on the kids, Cameron and Ashley, and certainly was part of his decision-making process was time for the family. As Ben Sigmund enters the final 20 minutes or so of his career. Is there life in this game, though? Is there life in this game? The Wanderers are just threatening to squeeze what there is left out of it with this 2-0 lead. Have they weathered the storm with a little assistance from the woodwork? The Phoenix will have to throw everything into this now.
Yeah, the Wanderers are quite content just to keep the ball, just wind the clock down. I mean, a lot of players now, psychologically, will be thinking, well, we've got 20 minutes to go. I want to make sure I get through this 100% fit or close to full fitness as I can, so I'm in contention for finals football.
Second half substitute. It's a confirmation, Harry, that the Wanderers right now, that's a live points table. They will sneak up one behind Adelaide, but importantly second, and it will mean that Perth cannot catch them.
The incentive for Perth is just to get that fourth spot, isn't it? Just leapfrog Melbourne City. And they scored some goals this season, 63 goals. Melbourne City, Bruno Funaroli, top of the table at the moment. Player stats, 23 goals for the Uruguayan. Fantastic season.
Starting to reach that time of the match now where the Phoenix, if they're to get something out of it, they need something very quickly. Here's Rodriguez looking to thread the pass for Krishna, but well read. Aguilar. It's been a little the pattern of the second half. A lot of running square and passes that have been well read by those in Wanderers shirts. Castellan.
Aguilar and Topple Stanley had the message at half-time just to keep things organised, keep things balanced, keep their discipline. And you can see that last phase by Aguilar, just stepping, closing down the space. Christian looking to make that run in behind. Much more organised in the second half across the back for the Western Sydney Wanderers.
Nichols still full of running. Andreu, tight spaces, and they've done really well. It's leading the Phoenix something of a merry dance. The step over, Castellan. Little back heel, Castellan wide. Well, do you know, they are getting ready to take that man off the park. What a final incision that might have been.
What a goal this one would have been. Fantastic football all over the park there from the Wanderers. Kept the ball, they drew the Phoenix in on the right-hand side. Quick switch of play.
Never quite wrapped the foot around it, did he? Just skewed off wide of Glenn Moss's goal. Santalab's just left a little afters here, and once too many times as Ben Sigmund has copped one to the face, and there is blood on the forehead of Ben Sigmund. And the clear inference from Sigmund is that that was a little more than an accidental stray elbow. Is it the forehead or the cheek? There's been a running battle through the match. There's been a lot of words said off the ball. Let's have a look, Harry.
Yeah, see him leading with the elbow. Not for the first time as well, Brendan Santalab. But as you jump, you do use your arms to propel yourself up. And I'm not defending Brendan Santalab at all, but you do try and, as you're jumping, you do use your arms to really give yourself a lift.
That change is being made now whilst Sigmund receives some attention, and there might be a stitch or two. I'm sure he's had plenty during his career, but one or two more for Ben Sigmund before he gets back out on the park, and he just needs to make sure that the temperature doesn't rise a little too high. Castellan's been good, been very good. Receives the acknowledgement from his manager, and for the 9th time this season, what a sub to have. Dario Vidicic, all the experience in the world, has 3 goals this campaign, but he has often, Harry, been used off the bench for the Wanderers.
Unfortunate too. He's a very good player, Dario Vidicic. Spent time in Europe, in Germany, in Switzerland. His father, Rado Vidicic, is obviously a very familiar name with A-League football, having coaching stints at the Roar, Sydney, Melbourne Victory. So pedigree through that Vidicic family. Dario's quite a handy player to bring off the bench.
The corner is given. Meanwhile, Ben Sigmund gets ready to make his way back on the park. There's a souvenir. Someone grabbed that. That is Sigmund's number 18 jersey, which has been discarded, blood-soaked and all, and he's back out there wearing the number 35, I believe, bandaged up. Well, surely this is all going to script. Now he scores. Isn't that how it would work? Oh, at the far post, they very nearly got something. They very nearly got something for their troubles, and this could be another head knock here. And it's all on, and Sigmund does need maybe just to calm down a little.
It was Tom Doyle throwing himself at that ball, and quite rightly so. You see the ball coming across here. Ben Sigmund's certainly fired up, isn't he?
Well, he's fired up. There's an argument there that it's Doyle that's putting his head down. Certainly not the player lifting the foot high. But this is threatening now.
I'm sure Durante's just having a quiet word to Sigmund, mate. Just calm yourself down. We want you the last sort of 12-15 minutes. You've got to stay on the park.
The little grin suggests that he is perhaps under control. We just saw a graphic just moments ago, Harry, that to highlight the conditioning and the focus of this Wanderers side with the number of goals that they score in the final quarter of an hour of a match. So you cannot sit back. I mean, clearly the Phoenix are far from doing that, but equally the threat of the Wanderers on the break will be ever present.
Yeah, although they're looking quite comfortable. They've scored 16 goals in the last 15 minutes. 3 more than any other side so far this season in the A-League. So play that full 90 minutes, never stop. Fair to say, though, 12 minutes to go, potentially more. Quite comfortable just to sit here, keep the ball, stay out of trouble.
Here come the Phoenix, approaching the final 10 minutes. Breaks down, Nichols wins it. Watson, possibly a first touch for the big striker. Home fans looking to urge their team on. Every pass, every touch, though, for a Wanderers player just takes the sting out of any hint of a comeback. Hamill. Nichols, again they work these tight spaces, the Wanderers. Hamill back into the space that was occupied by Nichols and forcing the corner. 6th of the match. As is their wants, the Wanderers fans. I'd say they turn their back on the action, Harry. They do have the benefit of a big screen that they're looking at, so they're not missing out on anything. It's a good delivery and a good climb from the corner, but Aguilar cannot keep the header down.
Well, they have been the benchmark off the park. This is Sydney Wanderers in terms of crowd support. And the Sydney Derby is an absolute humdinger, isn't it? Same with the Melbourne Derby. Fair to say, when you're watching a Western Sydney game, full money's worth in terms of you're sitting there in the crowd, you just can't help but getting submerged in the atmosphere.
Durante back to Moss. Moss with a miscue on the clearance. Desperation times now. Urgency from Leah. Watson trying to roll the pass for Krishna, just too long. You could see the idea.
The right idea, but just needed to be the other side of Toffel Stanley. Looked to play it on the inside. A better ball probably would have been on the Krishna's feet. Let him go one-on-one with Toffel Stanley.
Jamison not so intent on getting forward now. 2-0 lead. Both those goals coming courtesy of Santalab. One, a very fortunate one very much his own work. Substitutes in tandem, Hamill and now Vidicic. Nichols. Able to turn. Now Jamison might be keen to get forward and support this attack. Here he comes. A well-read Sigmund.
A great run by Brendan Santalab too, just to has made his run inside the box and left that space for Scott Jamison.
Bridge takes it off the toe of Andreu, gives it back to the Spaniard. Centre circle, a little twirl, a little dance, hits the deck, free kick. Chance for another change to be made by Popovic. Shannon Cole, who too has some history here in New Zealand, of course. So you go a long way back, playing for Waitaka United in the New Zealand You alluded to it earlier. He's on deck at the right time of the season for Tony Popovic. And Santalab will not get a hat-trick tonight, but 2 will do just nicely. Thank you very much.
Popovic is still giving Brendan Santalab a breakdown of potentially why he brought him off. Santalab's looking obviously to play as football as he can, but finals football, you can understand Santalab, Castellan, and even Mitch Nichols to some extent making way.
Succession of free kicks here for the Wanderers, and Jamison can see the lighter side of it. Powell coming back and just bundling Jamison over. We saw a challenge perhaps a little less 50-50 than that in the first half, with the Wanderers having a claim for a penalty. On that occasion it was Doyle on Santalab, wasn't given, that one was. To the penalty area, away was the call, and Moss will be able to do that. Collects without any pressure. Bonavacia is immediately under pressure though. And that's real strength from Dimas.
Bonavacia just trying a little shimmy inside, drag that one in inside. Mitch Nichols come off.
Oh, pretty much playing in an attacking frame of mind with Santalab making way. Bridge, of course, may be more central. There is Bridge. Good header, though, by Doyle. Bonavacia with space now to turn. Looks up, needs support. Rodriguez. Powell. McGlinchey not there anymore, remember, substituted. Rodriguez had to work hard to find the pass for Powell. Turns, squares it across. No, corner. Better. Can they score? Can they create some urgency over the final few minutes? Bonavacia. Oh, that is not what Bonavacia had in mind. Well, the Wanderers certainly have shut down the majority of the chances. The Phoenix, it seems, had to score in that purple patch when they hit the post, and Krishna had a chance. They were putting pressure on Andrew Redmayne's goal, but as was the case in the first half, they couldn't score. And you've already conceded two. Clearly, that's not going to get you out of a tricky situation. But the Wanderers, Harry, be pretty content with the performance and the chances that they have created as they get ready, it seems, to host a semi-final.
Well, tactically, you know, Popovic should be well happy with the way the game has gone in the second half, particularly after some holes in the back. The Phoenix were able to exploit, but not able to convert at all. Just been able to shut down this game in the last sort of 30 minutes or so.
Well, the final moments for Ben Sigmund in a decorated career. And this will be an emotional moment. And let's let the pictures tell the story. Farewell, Ben Sigmund. champion bloke. And farewell to, not from the Hyundai A-League, but from these parts anyway, Manny Muscat. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Two players that have played such a huge part in the relatively short existence of this football club. And it is almost a generational thing, isn't it, Harry, as we say farewell to Sigmund and Muscat. You feel like it's such a huge part of the history of the Wellington Phoenix.
Absolutely. You look at the two players that came on, you know, Dylan Fox and Louis Fenton, the future of the club. Two young players have had, Fenton's had a lot of experience over the last 3 or 4 years. Dylan Fox has done exceptionally well when he stood in for Ben Sigmund this season as well. You can't stop Father Time, can you?
That you cannot. Can the Wanderers halt the Phoenix through the closing moments? 3 minutes of time to be added on, and we've had just about 1 minute of that elapse. Bridge squares it, acres of space for Nichols. Good strike, took a deflection off Fox and away for the corner.
Good work. Good. The way Mitch Nichols held the ball, just waited for, it was Dario Vidicic who ran into an offside position to come back in. The overlapping run of Mark Bridge.
Well, for fans of the Wellington Phoenix, there will be a presentation to Sigmund and Muscat following the match, and I'm sure it's if you go through all the usual search engines that you'll find coverage of that. It will be well after we are off air and following Perth and Sydney tonight, but just keep an eye out for that. So I'm sure we'll keep the yellow fever in the stadium sometime after the final whistle. Hamish Watson is on the stat sheet for reasons that he'd prefer not to. Similar to the Santalab incident earlier, yellow card for Watson for the elbow. Travelling fans delighted. They will paint the town black and red tonight in Wellington. This time is all but up here at Westpac Stadium. Nichols. Bonavacia will take possession away. Leah Rodriguez. I'm sure I speak on behalf of you, Harry, when we just acknowledge ourselves the privilege that it's been to be a part of the careers of Manny Muscat and Ben Sigmund here following the Phoenix. We follow them week in, week out. And from both of us to both of them, we wish them well. Manny Muscat in his future endeavours with Melbourne, and Ben Sigmund into retirement. Champion blokes, both of them. The Wanderers too good. They will finish second on the A-League regular season table. 2 goals to Brendan Santalab in the first half. One lucky, one very direct and well-deserved. The Phoenix battered them at times. They hit the woodwork twice. They drew saves from Redmayne, but what they couldn't do is get on the scoreboard. The Western Sydney Wanderers win this final regular season game by 2 goals to 0.